Alright, section 5.3 is on logarithmic functions. The very first thing we can talk about is um, some simple logarithmic equations or expressions, and they don't want you to use a calculator. So I'm just going to go through a few. Instead of doing this entire lesson, I'm just going to do some examples, and hopefully that'll help you when you're solving your homework. Your homework is page 423. Let me get this pen to work. Page 423, 10 through 75, multiples of 5. I'm going to pick some of the ones around these problems and we'll see if we can talk about them. So number 9 says, what is the log base 2 of 16? Alright, so we're asking basically what power of 2 would give me 16. So my answer for that would be 4 because 2 to the 4th is 16. Number 11, what is the log base 5 of 125? In other words, 5 to what power is 125? And that answer would be 3 because 5 cubed is 125. Number 12, what's the log base 2 of 64? That would be 2 to the 5th, 6th. 2 to the 6th is 64. So they get a little bit more difficult when you've got, like number 14 says just what is the log of 100? Well, when they don't give you a base, that base is 10. So basically 10 to what power is 100? That answer would be 2 because 10 squared is 100. Or you could have one like number 16. The log base 8 of 2. This is saying 8 to what power is 2? Well, to get from 8 to 2, I would have to take the cube root. So that's the 1/3 power. 2 cubed is 8, so the cube root of 8 is 2. And if I want to check that on a calculator, I can say 8 to the 1/3 power and make sure that I get 2. So 8, let me clear that out. 8 to the 1/3 power. Just to double check and make sure I'm right. So 8 to the 1/3 power is 2. So that's my answer there. Sometimes they'll give you some problems like 27 says what's the log base 49 of 7. So 49 to what power is 7? And it'd be the 1/2 power. 49 to the 1/2 power is 7. Again, you can check that on your calculator. 28 wants to know log base 3 of 3 to the negative 2 would be what? Well, this is asking me 3 to what power would equal 3 to the negative 2. So this missing thing over here would have to be negative 2. 3 to the negative 2, y'all remember the loop around, equals 3 to the negative 2. 3 to the negative 2 equals 3 to the negative 2. Remember that problems like 32 where it says the natural log, I didn't write that down right, of e to the negative 5 power. The base here for natural log is e. So basically it's saying e to what power equals e to the negative 5th. So that would be negative 5. The next set of questions, 35 and 40, ask you just to convert. They give it to you in an exponential form and they want you to convert it to logarithmic. So if you had problem 36, you're not solving anything here. Sorry about that. 5 to the negative 3rd equals 1 over 125. They just want you to rewrite it in logarithmic form. This is your base. So it's going to be base, B-A-S-E, log, base 5 of 1 over 125 equals negative 3. And see how you rewrite it? 5 to the negative 3 equals 1 over 125, what we have up here. So that's how that works. So in those problems, you're just rewriting them from from exponential to logarithmic. And the next few, they want you to rewrite it from exponential to logarithmic. They want you to rewrite it logarithmic to exponential. So in like problem 46, where it's t equals the log base 4 of 7. Now they have this on the left, but it's 4 to the t power equals 7. 4 is my base. 4 to the t equals 7. Just rewriting it. If it helps you to write what's on the right on the left, if it helps you to see it a little bit better, you can do that. 4 to the t power equals 7. Some of these are natural logs, like 49. The natural log of 30 equals 3 point, yeah, tell her yes, 3.4012. So this would be, this base here is e, so it's e to the 3.4012 equals 30. And you can always test these on your calculator, especially in these that have numbers, and make sure you've written them correctly before you choose that. Now the next several they want you to use a calculator for. So like problem 56 says what's the log of 8? So you just type log 8, enter. 58 is the log of 93,100. And I think they want you to round to 4 decimal places. Now hopefully you can round. If you can't, you can always change the mode of your calculator. Right now it's on a floating decimal. If you push mode, you can change that to a 4 and it'll round for you correctly. So then I could go back and type in natural log of 50 and get an answer. And it rounds it. It goes on a lot farther than this, but if I need it rounded to the 4th decimal place and you're having trouble with that, then you can ask your calculator to round for you. Like this one, rounded to the 4th would be 4.9689. I wouldn't round it up because the very next number is a 4. You don't, I've seen people say, well, the number after 4 is a 9, so I'd round that up to a 5 and I'd round that one up, but you don't do that. You just look at the very next number. It's a 4, so you leave this a 9. 903. This one, the next number is an 8, so this would become a 1 if you rounded correctly. I'll change it back to float. I don't like to leave it on 4 because I can round pretty good. So sometimes your problems like number 64, what is the natural log of -4? It'll tell you that you can't do that. That means it does not exist. So that can also be an answer. Hang on just a second, guys. Okay, on the next several, you're asked to use a change of base formula to find some common logarithms, like problem 71 wants you to do the log base 100 of 0.3. Well, using change of base, my answer for this is the same thing as doing the log of 0.3 divided by the log of 100. So, on the calculator, I would type in log of 0.3, close my parentheses, divided by log of 100. And I would get around negative 0.2614. If I round to 4 decimal points, negative 0.2614. And so in other words, 100 to the negative 0.2614 power is about 0.3. Now, obviously I've rounded. You can also, on these problems, you should have a log base key that you can use as well. If you go to the math menu on your calculator, and it's probably easier to go up than down, but if you choose log base, then you can also find your answer that way. The base is 100, the actual, you're finding the log of 0.3, and we get the same answer either way. That's pretty much your homework for section 5.3. I did several from each section. If you have any questions on that, just let me know.